that throw rocks or whatever at people over walls are going to get mowed down with AK-47 or with, I guess it's M14s we use. Like, fuck, like I don't even know where to go. Like, fucking our immigration shit has been a fucking disaster. Trump's rhetoric on this is fucking horrible. And there have been so many different issues that have come up in the United States. We still don't have any real comprehensive immigration reform. The best immigrants that we have, the people that were here under DACA, are being attacked and possibly getting ready to be thrown out by Trump, depending on where the courts stand on DACA. I think that's currently being challenged right now. These are people that are tax-paying U.S. citizens that have been given tax ID numbers, that don't commit crimes, and that pay a fee every year or two to the United States to live here legally and have already been educated by us. Like, I don't even know. Fuck. I mean, like, there's like, I don't understand how Trump has done anything positive for immigration in the United States.
What do we do about the situation that's at the border now with the caravan that comes through Destiny? What's your ideas for how that should be handled?
I don't know. I mean, if you're here from refugee on a certain country, don't those normally go through the UN? I don't know how it normally works along our border to the south. I mean, if there's a way to vet people responsibly and bring them in, I mean, the United States has some of the toughest vetting in the world, if not the toughest vetting in the world. So, I mean, if there's a way to bring them in responsibly, I mean, in general, I'm probably in favor of that. Unemployment in the United States is dangerously fucking low right now. We could probably use the workers if they want to come and do it. Immigration in general to this country seems to be pretty positive. We seem to have a really good track record with refugees. I think we've taken like around 880,000 of them, and only one has ever been persecuted for terrorist-related things, and that was something that the FBI set up. The guys in, was it Tennessee, where they were trying to get arms shipped to people in Iraq or something? I don't remember, but it was like an FBI sting, and they basically got these guys and fooled them
Typical
and fucked
FBI.
them up. So I mean, like, I think,
yeah,
what? Yeah, so
typical FBI.
Yes, I mean, I think
they're like framing people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think they framed him. They got him, but yes, I got him.
What about the use of tear gas at the border? As somebody who's ex-military, I can speak on this. I have actually been through a tear gas chamber. It's not fun. It is one of the most excruciating things you will go through, because literally your eyes are blinded. Your mucus just all falls out. Feels like your brain is literally falling through your nose. It is not fun to use that kind of thing on children. I find it to be egregious personally. It's not a means for crowd control. Tear gas, in my opinion, is a form of weaponry. But that's only because of my military experience. What do you guys think about that when they fire tear gas over the borders to try to either disperse them?
It's fucked up is what it is. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Tear gas, it's the argument being made that to stop riots, right? Because some of them were rioting. Just happened to the issue is that if you use that on grown adults and they are rioting, then there's arguable good use of force there. The issue is that these, from what I understand, the people throwing the stones, say the agitators, they put kids and women in front so that they would get gassed, like for the optics, right? So they did that on purpose. So I mean, I don't think they should have used gas the instant they saw that there's women and children there, but how else would you control that situation?
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're using like women and children as fucking shields, I mean, I don't know if the responsibility falls on the U.S. there for gassing people. I'm going based on reports that I saw that it seemed like that some of those ports that were shut down was because there were genuinely people like charging and jumping the fences. That's what I saw. I think there were a couple immigration people that were actually injured from that. I would have to go and double check those stories, but I mean, like, yeah, I mean, I don't like our immigration policy right now. For a variety of reasons, but I mean, if this is what's on the books right now, I mean, you have to defend your ports. I mean, you can't just let people overrun it. So I mean, yeah, tear gas is generally a non-lethal way to do it.
Destiny, do you think that that Trump will secure another victory in 2020?
That it's impossible to say. It's going to depend on what happens between now and then. Like any type of like a big terrorist attack. I would say that fascism, or at the very least authoritarianism, largely thrives on fear. And I think Trump is pretty avowedly at least authoritarian, if not full on fascist. So I mean, like these types of fear mongering things amongst the people that really get people riled up and scared and afraid that their country is going to be destroyed or whatever, right? This plays into Trump's rhetoric pretty handily. So like a big terrorist attack, I think, would cause people to move more in that direction. So like something big like that could happen. Some big swing in the stock market could cause people to lose faith in Trump or gain a lot of faith in Trump. Although I don't know what the stock market doing well has to do with the average fucking American. I don't know. Like there's so many things. The problem is that there's just so many things that can happen that would cause a swing one way or the other. The Democrats could put up some real fucking dumb person as their candidate. So it's really fucking hard to say.
That's my worry. Do we have anybody now that we could see as somebody that's a contender? Like that's the issue for me, is that there doesn't seem to be anybody that you can point to and say that's the clear person that we want leading the the Democratic Party.
I think if you ask a lot of people, and this is something I'm inclined to agree with, Joe Biden could be a good contender.
Oh yeah, well I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that as well, actually. But the DNC
he's down to earth, right? He's down to earth. He's normal. He's someone you can relate to. He's like the poorest man in Congress, or at least he was back when he was in Congress. This is a guy who I think he's the everyman, but he's not a Republican, right? But he's got some conservative policies, a lot of moderate policies. I mean, he's a guy who's like basically in the middle. That I think that you'd be hard pressed to find someone who like really hates him. Like, I mean, what do people go at him with? They're like, oh yeah, he's got those creepy photos where he's like, holding the shoulders of women. Like that's the only thing I've seen put out against him, and maybe some stuff that he said in like the 1990s when he was like more hardline conservative Democrat, right? But now though, I mean, any of his current positions, I can't even disagree with them. I don't think anyone can really disagree with them. So he might be the best contender. Unfortunately, you might have some situation where people in the DNC are like, well, we prefer Elizabeth Warren, She's a woman and is more progressive. We don't want a white man. That could be an issue. So that's the only thing, really. I mean, it's up to them if they want to win or if they want to lose on identity politics.
Yeah, DNC can either win it or piss it away. It's up to them. But two last questions because we are running a little late on time. One first, I already know Destiny's answer to this probably, but this is a personal question to me. Do you think Trump is an intelligent man?
For me,
the reason I'm asking
I do think that
I actually had a friend
somewhat intelligent
that
become a billionaire.
No. Well, he had a
you have to be
a loan from his dad. I mean, he came from.
Yeah, I know, but still, a lot of people do.
A
lot of people do get those.
He had a what from his dad?
He started off like $40 million.
A loan of $1 million.
Yeah. Some people say he started off with
$1
million. Yeah, some people say $1 million. That's fucking bullshit. First of all, the non-monetary advantages that he inherited, so not even including the business, but the fact that he was born where he was, with the father that he had, with the connections that he was established with his whole life, that's worth more than any physical dollars that he inherited. And then on top of that, inheriting the tens of millions of dollars that his dad's business was worth, that huge story that came out about tax fraud that was committed between his family and everything. Like he had way more than just $1 million starting out. He likes to present it that way.
Oh, absolutely.
So. Yeah, no, he had a leg up. Last thing I read was about 40 million, if all things considered. And again, some of them don't have a monetary thing you can actually, look into. The fact that he came from an affluent condition,
I do think that
he can't put a price on that. But you think he's smart, though. I mean, he has a very limited vocabulary. His rhetoric is off the charts.
I mean, it doesn't matter, does it? He's good at the base, though. I mean, that's like look at Sarah Palin. I mean, is she actually really dumb?
Yes.
Like I don't a lot of dumb people that follow him. Just be realistic.
She's not. Here's the thing. If you actually watch Sarah Palin, before she decided to run for VP, she's actually really well spoken. She's really smart. It's just that puts that folksy thing on. She puts a folksy thing on. It's a ruse. It's optics.
Really?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a facade. But for Trump, I don't think that's a facade. Trump is just being Trump, and that's why he wins. He wins on the power of celebrity, right? He wins because he is who he is. And I don't think that he's stupid because he's continuing to win that way. I mean, he became the president after all. It wouldn't, if he was dumb, it wouldn't work. If he was dumb, he would be like one of those people who gets like $1 million and then just pisses it all away. He's a guy who can actually he takes what he has and he plays to his strengths.
He's been bankrupt 4 times.
I mean, does it?
Or
but then he came back up. Came back up. Yeah, he came back up. So it doesn't really matter. I mean,
I'm really curious.
Every successful person.
I'm curious. Well, I think a lot of it is he does hire successful people. He puts people around him that are intelligent, at least in business. In the White House, not so much, maybe. But what is the advantage for Sarah Palin? Yeah, like Sanders. She's got to be hating her job. She has probably the worst job.
You can tell she do. She hasn't smiled since November in 2016.
Like she hates.
That's a fact.
Yeah. But I'm just kind of curious. What is Huckabee's? Oh, no, I'm Huckabee. I'm sorry. That's because it's her dad. What is Sarah Palin's advantage of putting on this facade of this Southern hick that isn't very intelligent?
She's relatable to. She's relatable in a to a lot of. You've got a lot of people in rural areas in Alaska. Right, love rural areas in Alaska who are, I'm not going to say they're uneducated. I'm not going to say they're stupid. I don't think they are, and I think it's very unfair for people living on the coast to say, "Oh, those people are fucking dumb." Right? but she's down to earth. When she puts on the whole folksy thing, she's someone relatable. She's like your aunt who brings over some casserole. That's the role that she plays. But when she was running for governor, she was well spoken. When she was in like in Anchorage, where it's more metropolitan and stuff, the way that she was speaking was like with a regular like a standard American accent, not the Canadian accent, and not Canadian accent, I mean Alaskan accent. And she was, well spoken. She knew her arguments and everything. She didn't pretend to be stupid. But in fact, it's quite disrespectful. Like if I were a rural Alaskan and I was watching her and I saw both sides, it'd be actually kind of insulted because it's obvious she's pandering to me, So it's irritating when I see politicians do that. They all do it. Like Obama actually does that. He goes to the South and he starts speaking a Southern drawl. It's kind of weird.
So I haven't heard Obama do this. I don't know if that's necessarily true. Yeah. I don't think Palin was made fun of because of her accent. I think she was made fun of because she legitimately said some of the dumbest fucking things that have ever been said before. She was a pick out of nowhere, and she was way out of her fucking depth. I mean, like I think back to things like on 60 Minutes where she was asked what newspapers or magazines she read, and she said she'd read, she reads a lot about it, and when she was pushed to name a single one, she said all of them. Like Sarah Palin did not do herself any favors. Her policy positions were fucking insane. Right? I think her daughter's on like her third unwed baby now as she continues to push for abstinence-only education and whatnot. Her daughter's even been in commercials with people like Mike from Jersey Shore and shit. So I mean, like, I don't think it was just an accent thing. I don't know. I don't feel like she's playing. I feel like she's just real dumb. And so far as Trump, the challenge that I always give to... Yeah, the challenge that I always give to Trump fans or whatever. Trump, maybe at one point in Trump's life, maybe he knew a lot about real estate. That's possible. I've seen him give old speeches in front of Congress before, in front of different committees, where he seems at least like decently well spoken. But over the past like 5 years, I think Trump is an irredeemable fucking moron. And people always get really salty at me when I say this, but my challenge has always been and will always will be, and is currently gone completely unmet. Link me a single video clip with Trump talking about anything related to governmental affairs where he's not reading a teleprompter, where he doesn't sound like a fucking idiot. You won't be able to do it. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't know anything about our security. He doesn't know anything about our intelligence agencies. He doesn't know anything about foreign affairs. He doesn't know anything about domestic affairs. He sure as fuck doesn't know anything about the economy. He constantly compares like our trade deficit to the national debt. Like these two things are like even comparable numbers. He talked about paying off our trade deficit, which you don't pay off a trade deficit. That's just the difference in exports and imports. Right? He talked about paying off our trade deficit with the GDP. We're paying off our GDP deficit. I don't even know. Like, Jesus fuck, he's so fucking stupid.
It's a little bizarre, but like the art. But you talk about the real estate. He didn't even write the art of the deal, right? I mean, a ghostwriter wrote it for him. So he didn't even have
the ghostwriter hates
that. And somebody actually wait 1 sec. This is funny because the ghostwriter had actually tweeted something in relation to Trump in the book, and then one person actually responded to them, well, you obviously don't know anything about Trump in this book because this book says it all. He's like, I wrote the book, you idiot. It was great.
I saw that.
There's a thing. I'll say this, and then we'll close out the show because we are going close to the time. But yesterday I saw somebody tagged me in a Twitter post. The news or now this that news service that does the little
now this
real quick news news spots in Oklahoma, I believe it was Oklahoma or Ohio. I need to look that up, but they're contemplating giving the death penalty for
women who have abortions.
People who, past a certain
it's Ohio. It's fucked up.
Ohio.
Yep, it's a fucked up law.
Here it is.
Fucked up law. They're pushing it.
It's punishable by death after 6 weeks. So after 6 weeks, if you get an abortion, that is punishable by death. Is the bill they're trying to press in the House there? What are your thoughts on that?
Thank you, John Kasich, you fucking moron. I fucking hate that. I have friends in Ohio, and they're pretty pissed off about it. This is not a good thing. This is heinous. It's barbaric. It's savage. It's something you'd find in a place like Indonesia or Pakistan. I don't think it has any place in a democratic Western society. So no, they need to take this thing out.
Feel the same way, Destiny?
Yeah, probably. I don't know if this was probably just something that was like brought up like in the legislative body. Like, did this even make it to a vote or?
It was it's being brought up now. They're doing the the back and forth on it. I'll send you the link to it. The now this
Oh, they're
just
trying to
Googling